crazy. And I remember there was probably 2 nights where I was like started hyperventilating. I had an anxiety attack, and I was like, David, like I'm really nervous, to the point where I didn't even want to apply for his green card thing, because I was so scared about getting denied. And you know, he would have to comfort me, and everything he just kept talking about was pointing me back to Christ. God would not have brought us together in this covenant marriage, would not have told David to move here, or for us obviously like get married, live together, for him to just forsake us and leave us at the end.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Christian
Faith
YouTube channel, guys. We're going strong. 2 videos a week. Quit playing with me. No yo-yo, no here a little bit, there a little bit, although unless God says so, then we will. But as of now, he said yes, full force, full steam ahead, guys. This channel is all about equipping you to better live out the Christian faith, whether that's theology, soteriology, it could be marriage, it could be discipleship, it could be evangelism, hence the new water bottle, guys. Quit playing, Christ developed. That's the evangelism ministry Mallory and I both share now that we are one flesh. And yeah, I think that is so cool. So you guys can check out the other channel, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have. We go evangelize at college campuses and stuff like that. We're going to go tomorrow. So anyways, I'm going to let Mallory introduce this video because it's a very special one. It's much more of a personal one. And hopefully this can just be a testimony of God's goodness. And when we are obedient the best we can, guys, God is a rewarder to those who diligently seek.
So just as David said, this is going to be a really big life update from things we've kind of been keeping behind the scenes. I feel like one thing since we got married, but as of recently, a lot of you guys here on YouTube have already caught on. But
I didn't even. I completely forgot we were going to tell them this too. I was thinking about something else. There's a lot of updates, guys. There's a lot.
Yeah. So as you guys know, update, we are currently building our house that we will live in the next couple months, hopefully, on my family's property right now. And a big reason why we moved here from Dallas, close to family, all that sort of stuff, was at first because my sister and brother-in-law were pregnant, but we found out that I am also pregnant.
You guys guessed it. There were so many comments that were like, I feel like Mallory's pregnant, but I couldn't like it. I had to ignore it because I didn't want to give it away. And the reason for that, maybe you want to tell them why.
We were just waiting to tell some of my extended family, and at my sister and brother-in-law's baby shower, because my sister's due in February, I believe, my sister opened the opportunity for us to be able to share it with all of our friends and family there. So it was super special.
Yeah, so yesterday was a huge party, guys. We're setting up a lot. We were laying down a bunch of grass. There's a whole bunch of balloons there. I don't think you can see. And yeah, a bunch of little baby decorations everywhere. So with that, yes, guys, you guessed it. Mallory is pregnant, or I guess we both are. I don't know if... Do you say you're both pregnant as a guy? Like, I'm not pregnant, but like we're together.
Well, I'm pregnant and we are expecting a baby.
Okay, yes, yeah. We are expecting.
Although David keeps joking about how he is gaining weight because I'm pregnant.
Yeah, so anyway, that's besides the point. He just outed me. So with that said, guys, that's why we're on a diet flex. Yeah, we went to the ultrasound the other day, and it was such a magical moment. And this podcast will be edifying, guys. It's not just going to be, oh, here's a life update. Although, that can be important, as it's all a testimony back to God. We saw the ultrasound the other day, and it was phenomenal. Mallory's about 11 weeks, almost 12 weeks now, almost in her second trimester. If you guys don't know, it's about 14-week increments, and I could not believe it. I don't think I'll put up the reaction here. I'll put it on my story if you guys are following our Instagram. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know. Like, I'm pretty well versed in as abolitionists, so like abortion stuff, when the heartbeat, yada yada yada, at what stage of development the fetus is, the baby. But man, I was not expecting at 11 weeks for it to be like that formed. I'm talking like we saw its entire
head,
every part of its face, its nose, its lips, its head. That we saw the feet kicking. We saw its hands. Now, of course, granted, it's probably only about like this big, but like it was just crazy. Maybe they have some really good cameras.
Healthy heartbeat.
Healthy heartbeat. Everything was just so surreal, and it is just such a testimony to of God's magic, how He knits everything in the womb. We know in Jeremiah 1, right? What is it, 1:5? He says that I know it's in Jeremiah. I formed you in the womb, right? I knew you before I formed you in the womb. You have Psalm 51:5. David says he was sinful from conception. We know that we have Elizabeth with Mary, with Jesus and John the Baptist, right? Him leaping for joy. So biblically, guys, life begins at conception. And I can tell you, as a now father, looking at that ultrasound, for anyone to say that like it's not living at 11 weeks is respectfully like retarded, like absurd. Like it was just, I shouldn't say retarded, but like it was just so, it was so real, guys. Yeah.
We want to be able to go into detail, kind of explaining things that well, I guess I've learned, but what we've learned kind of in this first trimester so far with the pregnancy, and also testify and answer some questions that I see a lot circling around in like the Christian sphere of like, should you use wisdom before you have kids? Should you have everything aligned before you have kids? Like, should I just submit my womb, to the Lord and trust on timing, all that sort of stuff. So we'll touch on all of that. But I also want to introduce our second part of this exciting announcement. The same day that we got our ultrasound, that was the day that the concrete was being poured for our house being built in the back. So praise God for that. The construction's like officially started. But thirdly, that was the day that David received something in the mail.
Should I say it?
Yeah.
Guys, it's inside right now. I don't think I'm going to get it. If you're on the stories Instagram, you probably already know. But for some of you guys who don't know, and we're going to, trust me, guys, this podcast, grab popcorn, sit down, relax. It's going to be edifying because we're going to explain how we got here. Because it was not this, I think social media, a lot of times people are very good at kind of masking things and making things look just completely seamless and all like, thank you, God. And that is true. But we're co-laborers, guys. I mean, we look all throughout the Old Testament in particular, New Testament too. There is struggle. We look at Moses, right? Moses didn't even make it to the promised land due to disobedience. We look at Abraham's wrestle. We look at Job's wrestle. We look at Jesus's wrestle. Which we're not saying we're anything nearby by any means, but there's absolutely a wrestle. And I think that's so important. Even Apostle Paul, him having the thorn in his flesh, it just goes to show, it points back to the glory of God, right? He says, for when I'm weak, I'm actually strong. I'm with you, right? So anyways, with that said, enough blabbing. I got my green card. I'm a permanent resident here of the U.S. As you guys know, I'm from Canada. I'm an immigrant. I am a legal immigrant. And we went through the entire process legally of the immigration system. We paid the attorneys. We waited in line. I was in due process. I did the entire thing, to the book. And God's really good, guys. I don't know if we want to kind of touch into this.
Yeah,
already.
I want to start with this because it kind of goes in chronological order. So for those of you guys who don't know, David and I got married within like 2 months of us meeting in person for the first time. We were kind of talking through text message and stuff for like the month and a half previous, but we ended up the second, or I think it was the third time. Okay, let me backtrack. So a quick rundown. We met in person December 2nd and we hung out. Do you have your hoodie on? What is wrong? You look like your old David Hammond page. It's okay. You can leave it on. Okay.
It's kind of cold out here, guys.
So we met in person December 2nd. We hung out that whole week. And then when he went back to Canada, we were officially courting. And we courted through FaceTime basically for 6 weeks. And then he came back. This is, I believe, January 13th of 2025. So this year. And we already got the okay from God. We were still in the process of him meeting my parents to get their okay. And me meeting his mom and his brother to get that okay. Just because we want to be able to honor our parents, right? As the Bible says. But before we had even met each other's parents, we had already gotten our marriage license like that Wednesday. So that was like January 15th.
Explain how that works, though, because I think a lot of them don't know.
Yeah, because we basically were planning like, okay, if we get the approval from parents, which we knew if this was from God that was going to happen, we'd be able to come back from Canada after him moving out. And we just wanted to be able to get married right when I get back. And we had to get the marriage certificate beforehand because you have to get it like 3 days before you get legally married or something like that. So with that, David and I then went from Dallas to San Antonio for him to meet my parents. It was good. It was a little bit of a shock at first, but they had the supernatural peace from the Lord. And then I went to meet his family, helped him move out of Canada. Everything was great. Mom was super supportive and happy. And then we came back on.
Yeah, but before that, guys, if you want to talk about faith, I literally signed a marriage license, meaning our names are in the system now because we did it in faith. I got the confirmation from God. Mallory did too. If you guys saw, I think 2 videos back, and we signed that before I met her parents, man. I'm not necessarily recommending, I did meet them on FaceTime beforehand, and we had some common ground,
with them
but
multiple times.
Talk about faith, guys. That's the real Christian faith. And yes, guys, it was great. The parents were awesome. It's exactly what we thought. And that's, again, guys, I need to make this very clear. Not because we're we're leaning on our own understanding. We're not saying, well, I feel it's going to go well. No, it's God's promise, right? When we had God's confirmation, and we'll make separate videos on this, but God's confirmation, many times you may think it's going to make you feel so happy in your flesh, so excited. Now you can have fruits of the Spirit, but more than oftentimes, guys, you know what's God's confirmation? Because it actually calls you to deny your flesh, and it has some fear, right? And that's why we're called to walk in the Spirit. So yeah, that's besides the point.
Yeah, but I also want to reiterate so you guys don't hear what David isn't saying. Faith doesn't mean being reckless and not using wisdom. We talked about a bit on a previous video how within the first couple days of us courting, we asked all the difficult questions that unfortunately a lot of couples wait 6 months to a year to even ask each other. Yeah. And then of course, like we waited for confirmation from God. There was prayer, there was fasting involved. And again, we were very diligent with that whole process. He was talking to my parents beforehand. I had talked with his mom a little bit before.
It wasn't a shock when we met. Like the parents knew when I was visiting. It was, of course, because I was interested in marrying their daughter. So it wasn't like,
We're not telling people go get married in 2 months. Like I honestly, looking back at our thing, I'm so grateful for it. And we were obedient to what God was asking us specifically. But we're not saying that's like the
standard.
Yeah, the standard. And
unless you guys are OGs like us, then.
Yeah, but it did require faith because we're over here, like, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get out of my lease, right? He doesn't know.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, what if he doesn't get this approval from my parents and they're kind of iffy, but he already signed the end of lease for his apartment?
End of lease. I broke my lease, man. This whole podcast making it sound so reckless and bad. I broke the lease. I sold my car. Like, I have nothing back in Canada.
Yeah, and that's why we say by faith, because to other people, it may sound crazy, but God was telling us very specific things to be like, hey, this is going to look crazy. This is going to feel scary, but are you going to jump? Are you going to be obedient? And we did. And it was fun.
And we're here now. We got a house, we got a kid, we got the green card, so God is good.
So with that said, David and I came back from Canada. He moved out. Like he had 2 suitcases with him. He moved all of his extra bedroom stuff in his mom's.
The flights, dude, it was crazy.
Yeah, and God came through with that. That's a story for
another
day.
That part I will not blame God. That was us. That was due to our recklessness, leaving too late. We tried to clean my entire condo in like 3 hours, and like we butchered it. I had
been cleaning that whole week that we were there. He had a lot of stuff in his apartment.
Yeah, my fridge was bad and stuff like that. But it was all good. We made the flight. We should not have made the flight. 2 times we should not have made the flight, but we did.
Yeah, and that's a testimony of even when
we have the 2 dogs with us, guys. So if you hear some barking, one is a little dog. His name is Henry. Yep. And so he tries to act tough. But then we have another one named Bailey. Bailey's actually the big one. He's the lab. Bailey.
Leave it.
It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, we'll go put them in.
I learned that dogs bluff a lot. Bailey, when he first met me, that's what he does. He barks when he sees a lot of people, but he will never bite. He'll never do that. He just barks. It's just a lot of bluff. It's a lot of fluff. Yeah, show him Henry. Look how cute Henry is, guys. This is Henry. I don't know what he is. I think he's a Pomeranian. And then Bailey's the big lab. Bailey, come. Oh, watch out. Can you guys see? You can see his head? Yeah, that's Bailey. Oh, he knows he's in trouble now. He knows he's in trouble. Yeah. He just, for sure.
A little out of breath, sorry. So, but that's also a testimony that God takes our mistakes and our flaws into account. And because I feel like a lot of Christians, whether workspace or performative, or I don't know, I'm going to call it striving Christians, they think that God's rewards is dependent on 100% perfection or obedience. But God obviously knows that we're not going to be perfect. And in his providence, he knows that we're going to make mistakes, right? We're going to fall short. But he's so good. He's so merciful. He's so kind that he still works out all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his will. So, amen. Praise God for that. So David and I came to the States January 25th of this year. And then obviously still got the okay from our parents and everything. We got married 3 days later on a Tuesday.
Which is why we signed it beforehand.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
We needed, you actually have to, you can't just sign it that day and get married. It takes some time to process. So that's important.
Right. And because we wanted to get married in San Antonio with my family. And it was so sweet. I don't even think I've shared this publicly because I didn't realize it until afterwards. But the first message David and I sent through Instagram was January 28th, 2024. Fast forward, we got married January 28th, 2025. Isn't that crazy? So it's like a year from like the first time that we'd ever communicated then to that. But anyways, with that said, well, you didn't have any comment?
No, it's just because like I barely even know you. I don't know how the heck I just teleported here, man. One day last year I was in Canada. And I got like a house, a kid, like dogs and everything, and it's just crazy, guys.
Yeah, his mom was texting us this morning like, wow, a year ago we would have never known that this would have happened. I think about me. I look completely different. Act is a lot more cleaned up. I'm now married and pregnant. It's just crazy.
Man, guys, I'll just tell you this. Like last year or a year and a half ago, I was $20,000 in debt. I was living alone. I had no friends. Like, didn't see myself getting married. But one thing I'll tell you that no one could beat me on, and I'm really just saying this to myself, is being a man after God's own heart. And when I was in debt, I was working full-time labor. I was like, dude, I got pretty much excommunicated from my church. I left. I didn't get kicked out, but it was very bad. My pastor was, I'll be honest, I think very envious of me. And that's because here I am, this guy who's on YouTube and I want to really make this big. Now Christ Develops big, but I was trying that and he didn't like that. He was against social media and he wanted me to like, it was bad. It was bad. It was either the church or YouTube. And I said, respectfully, screw this. Like, can you show me in the Bible where it says that? No, I'm sharing Jesus. I'm not like doing porn or something like that. So I had no church, no friends, 20K in debt. It's freezing cold in Canada. I had like, guys, if you think of like a Rocky movie or something where like the hero gets his butt beat up and he's like a loser, like that was me. Like I had like nothing to my name, man. I gave up my old business, self-developed. I was making 6 figures on that beforehand. It was a men's self-improvement business, but I knew it was no longer glorifying Jesus, or it didn't glorify Jesus, so I gave that up. And I just genuinely kept seeking after God. Just think of like a tunnel, and there's like no light, but like Jesus is the light, the Holy Spirit's the light, and everything around you is dark, but you have that one pinpoint. And I just kept seeking after that diligently. And I'm here to tell you guys, fast forward, like God's not ignoring that. You know, it may look like you're being overlooked by the world and that no one cares about you. And in fact, you're being shunned by the world. It's like, dude, you're a loser. My family, and rightfully so, I don't blame them, but they were like, dude, what are you doing? Like why, you know, this is like hateful, right? This is offensive. They didn't know the gospel's divisive. They just kind of thought Jesus is love, sunshine, rainbows. Why don't you go back to your old business? I'm working like full-time labor. I'm overworked, man. I'm just getting by like paycheck to paycheck. I'm eating like super crappy food because part of that was, I'll be honest, it was laziness, but like two, cheap, man. You guys know Little Caesars, $5 pizzas? Like no cap, guys. That was like almost 2/3 of my calories. I would eat that after a shift, like just alone in my car. And like, man, it was like on paper, it was pretty dark, but man, I'll tell you guys, when you're a man after God's own heart and you're genuinely seeking him, Matthew 6:33, you're fine. I felt peace, guys. I felt bold at that time. I was strong, and you need that because that's what launched my entire ministry. It was just by myself in Canada, borderline a communist country, guys. I saw that same pastor get arrested, thrown in prison for preaching the gospel. I'm not making any of this up, guys. And we don't have First Amendment. We don't have freedom of speech out in Canada, right? It's very different. They actually tried to ban the Bible in Canada in public. Everything I'm saying, Mallory can confirm. And yeah, I just did it. And this is not like I am proud of myself, but this just goes to show you guys, when you keep fighting, God sees your struggles. Man's not, but God does, and he will reward that. Now we're in Texas. I'm a green card holder. I have a wife. I have a child on the way, and
Life's
it's
completely
God.
flipped.
It's God. It flipped. So hopefully that can motivate some of you guys.
Right. I just kept thinking like God honors those who diligently seek him. And it's just, I love his name, David. It's so prophetic because like King David, he's also a man after God's heart. And King David fell short in a lot of ways. Yeah. And David will humbly admit almost on every episode that he falls short in many ways. Yeah, definitely. But he continues to get back up, and he understands that God is for him, not against him. And I just can testify. He always wants, even when he's confused, even when he's scared, even when he has no idea what's going on, he's like, God, every single day, what do you want from me? And I will do it. I think that's even how you got saved. You're like, God, if you're real, I will follow you. But yeah, anyways, so where did we leave off?
Yeah, just talking about, I kind of went on that rant, but yeah, getting married, how it was very fast, the process, and we got the okay. We were at the courthouse, I think.
Oh, yes. So we got...
Speaking of that, too, how we didn't even do it worldly.
Yeah, so we got legally married January 28th, 2025. Through the courthouse, I think the entire thing was like, our rings that we bought together were like $1,500.
Yeah, for both.
We got a deal on that. And
they're beautiful, too. Like, now, I don't know if you can show them.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good-sized diamond. So for you guys, too, being told you got to drop I told Mal I was going to drop 10 bands on a ring.
I said, heck no.
So I thought that's what men had to do. I was told you have to spend a third or like I don't know, like quite a big chunk of your income. And then
no, I wanted to
find a girl who doesn't care about that. If your girl wants this like huge ring and it's going to put you into debt, and now you were going to use that to like, you know, pay off debts or get an apartment, that's a shame on you as a woman. Like if you're going to put your man into debt because of the size of your diamond so you can brag to people who don't care about you, I respectfully or unrespectfully rebuke you. Like,
yeah, you're not ready for marriage. You're still wanting to get married to have a husband, not to be a wife and to be a helper. And so I would even add to that, it's not just about this obsession over a ring, but like this idea, when you think of marriage, you only think about this big extravagant wedding. And I say this because that's something the Lord had to walk me through. The first year and a half, I believe, of my Christian walk, when I would think of marriage, I would still think about the Pinterest board wedding and all that sort of stuff. And that's considering that I never really cared for a big wedding. Like I never really was much of a girly girl aesthetic kind of thing. But that's just because we're fed constantly, right? We're this princess, and we get swept off of our feet. And then, you know, I don't know, your dad pays for like this big wedding, yada, yada. But again, when the Lord presented us with getting married, God asked me, because I was over here kind of obsessing, well, what are people going to think if we just get married by the courthouse? That's kind of odd. Like it's really fast. And the Lord kept challenging me with the question, do you care more about what man thinks, or are you going to be obedient to what I'm asking you to do? And that's exactly why, again, we got married at the courthouse. I spent about $150 on my dress from Aritzia. It was super pretty. And
the courthouse itself was only $100. Yeah, excuse guys, there's gonna be some dogs barking.
Hey, I think it costs like $100 to pay the judge to marry us.
$100, guys. So this is just another testimony to you. A lot of men, and I say this because this is what I was taught. We are taught, and this is why so many men don't get married. It's such, guys, the marriage industry. I'm not saying it's all bad. Like God, obviously, he loves marriage, but the marriage industry, a big part of it is a scam, guys. The diamonds, they retail that 80% higher. You can, whatever price you're going to pay on rings, guys, I guarantee you, you can go down by like 80%.
The same flowers and catering that you would get for another event, the second that you say it's for a wedding, they upcharge it like
100%.
40-50%.
The marriage ceremony, guys, if you want to have a marriage ceremony too, I want to make it clear, that's amazing. That's awesome. But for Mallory and I, it just wasn't conducive because I'm coming from Canada. I don't know anyone here in the States. It wasn't smart budget-wise. And we wanted to just get this thing going. We didn't want to plan for months, and that's when we get married. And like, come on, man, we want to get things going quick. We want to be full-time helpmates, or, you know, in a covenant. Yeah. And so yeah, it was $100, guys, and the rings for both gold band, good size diamond. We have the official yada yada, so it's real. $1,500. It initially was like $5,000, and we just kept going lower because I was like, I don't want it. And he was like, wait.
It was beautiful. It was hey. The whole day was so beautiful. It was just my parents, my sister, brother-in-law, and my grandma. It was beautiful overcast weather, which is David and I's favorite.
Which it is right now. Cozy weather.
Yeah, exactly.
Hence the hoodie.
It was great. Like I said, we were able to set up our marriage like financially up for success because we didn't go into debt, or I didn't put that stress on my parents for paying for a wedding. And yeah, highly recommend. We can talk more about that on another video.
Yeah, we can do a separate video if you guys want to know that.
But I wanted to share all of that because the timeline of things made it pretty scary when we then started to go through the application for the green card process, because a lot of the attorneys that we went to like interview, see if this was the one that we were going to go with, they kept saying it's such a red flag that you guys got married 3 days after him, like legally coming into the States. And they were like 5% chance he'll get his green card. And it was such a test of faith on both of our ends, but I feel like even more myself, because as women, we're more emotional creatures, right? Can at times be a bit more easily deceived because of that fear. And I'm over here just thinking like, oh my gosh, like I thought that this was like, it was a done deal because our marriage is obviously real. But all these attorneys were telling me like, no, that there's almost like no way. It was like illegal and all this sort of stuff. And it was just, I also want to paint the picture too. This was right when Trump was coming into office. Right when David had come to the States. I think that's when he came into office.
Trump won a few months, I think, prior.
Yeah, but late January was when he came into office.
And so he was cracking down.
We're hearing and seeing all of these posts through social media of like he's he's deporting legal people, even if they have their green card or they're in due process. They go to their court case and they're getting arrested and getting deported right then and there, right? They're talking about ICE raids and all this sort of stuff. And obviously we had comfort knowing that like David's not a criminal. He has no criminal background. He's a good, upright citizen, but it can be scary because like we're going evangelizing at college campuses. Sometimes security gets involved.
With the police, yeah. We've run into police about 4 times.
Exactly.
I almost actually got arrested at Pride Parade. I don't think I would have got arrested, but some lady tripped out.
Story.
I'll just tell you guys, God saved our butts quite a few times.
His hand was on it because, again, God honors and rewards those who diligently seek him, and he's pleased with those who walk by faith and not by sight, right? So anyways, we're getting fed all of this, what I will blatantly say, propaganda from the left of Trump, I said, deporting all of these legal people, and they're saying, oh, your what is it called, marriage green cards, they're not even giving those out anymore. It was garbage. Ridiculous. And then we're seeing, this was in February, or no, this was in March, we're seeing like all of these protests from like ICE and stuff, and we were in Dallas where there was a very, very heavy immigration and even like illegal immigrant area. And we're hearing stories of nearby, like these ICE raids happening, all this sort of stuff. Crazy. And I remember there was probably 2 nights where I was like started hyperventilating. I had an anxiety attack and I was like, David, like I'm really nervous to the point where I didn't even want to apply for his green card thing because I was so scared about getting denied. And you know, he would have to comfort me, and everything he just kept talking about was pointing me back to Christ. God would not have brought us together in this covenant marriage, would not have told David to move here, or for us, obviously, like get married, live together, for him to just forsake us and leave us at the end, right? So that's...
I actually forgot how scary it was. As a man, this is a little tip to you guys too, like a lot of times you got to hold it together. And there were, like it is not fun seeing your wife or your mother cry because of something that they're afraid of. Like that is not fun. And they're afraid of like losing you or something bad happening. My mom was too afraid. I had to tell her like, shut up. She had too much.
She was sending us messages every day of like Trump. And this is no shade to Joyce. We love you, Joyce. Yeah. But she was sending us stuff. Mothers. Yeah. She was sending us stuff like Trump. Like he's deporting people at their due process thing, and
I was like, Mom, respectfully stop, shut up. And no, it's not fun seeing your wife cry, and you know, I would just comfort her. And I knew I had a peace from God. As men, we have that spiritual authority, we have that mantle. I had faith, guys, but I will be honest with you, it was scary. There's faith, but like as a man too, this is so important. A lot of you guys aren't ready for marriage because you haven't slayed Goliaths in your life. Like because I had slayed many Goliaths prior to this moment, me needing faith for this green card thing was kind of just like another day for me. Like, you know, I've dropped businesses, like I told you. I was 20K in debt, guys. I had all these things removed from me, and I still made it due to the grace of God and obedience. So I applied that same thing here. And I comforted Mal. It was uncomfortable, guys. And because you have to understand, there's no assurity, right? And I look at it now, and we got it like, man. Granted, there was many factors that were involved, but even when we spoke to the attorneys and the lawyers, there were quite a few that I really do believe, I'm saying this to comfort you guys, I really do believe Satan was speaking through some of these individuals to cause, to fearmonger, to cause strife, because some of them really freaked out Mallory, and it really put us in an uncomfortable situation. But nonetheless, we continue to go. We ended up finding some good attorneys, and these attorneys, it was a complete 180. I'm not sure what it was, because it's just, here's what I'm saying, guys. Just because, you know, you try something and maybe you fail initially, or it's not the result you want, keep going. The first couple attorneys we went to, they were like, no, red flag, like you're cooked, like
I'll
pack
actually
it up.
Correct you there. The first attorneys that we went to was the ones that we end up going with. And that's a theme that Dave and I keep seeing, is like whether the attorneys, the apartments we looked at, the ring place, the midwife stuff that we've looked into, which I'll share here in a second. It's always the first people that we go to. And it's kind of like God, it reminds me of like God's ways are so clear and so simple, but then we try to complicate it. Where I'm like, okay, but we got to look at all these different options, and God is like, I gave you the first one. And so that's what those people, they're like, 98% chance like this being good. But it was so cool because they were even saying like it could take a year and a half for you to get your green card interview. So we were a little worried about that, because we're thinking like, dang, he's going to be in due process. Like what happens if we go street preaching and run into stuff, whatever it is. And we officially applied in June of 2024.
Before we say when we applied, like, because there's a lot, this is important for some immigrants, but it's also important to let you guys know the faith. So like Mallory said, we went to about like 5 different attorneys to, get prices, see what it was like. Some of them were like, nope, you're cooked. And then we had 2 that said, yeah, dude, you're fine. Because although, yes, look, it does look a little, suspicious, as long as you can prove that the marriage is really, you're fine. We had 2 of them that really gave us that confidence, and they were the most expensive ones. They're not, it was not cheap, guys. Okay, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, because maybe there's some of you that are in this process. Total, and we're talking the lawyers, the health checkups, the blood test, like they had to make sure I was good. It was around $8,000 total.
In total, 9. So attorneys were 65. The application stuff was about 25. And then it was $900 of like the medical checkup stuff.
So you're looking at around $8,000 to $10,000, guys, for everything. We completely vouch for it. It worked. It was very seamless, which I'll let Mallory go into. But go with an attorney. This is a complete side tangent, who has the confidence and the receipts. I think that's with anything, but because we could have saved money. This is another thing with faith too. We could have saved probably like $2,000 to $3,000 if we went with someone who didn't have that same confidence. They were like, maybe, like, we'll see. But I was like, no, I want to pay. I want to go all in. I want to be sure. And that was hard, guys. I'm not caking. I don't have millions of dollars, guys. Like, God's blessed me and we're doing okay. But, it was a hit. And then we got to speak, even my mom come and clutch many months later, too, for, like, a wedding gift. And, like, that... She basically covered the whole thing, which I had no clue was going to happen. So I'm just telling you guys, like, the whole point of this podcast and this video in particular is literally faith, the Christian faith. It's when God's given you a promise to just endure. It doesn't mean be stupid or reckless or closed-minded, but like keep seeking him. Don't just quit because there's some sign of resistance or this. Do you really think like God bring you to the promised land? Look at Exodus is going to be this cakewalk. No, of course there's going to be the serpents. There's going to be disobedience. There's going to be idolatry along the way. There's going to be trials and tribulations, but just keep seeking him, right? Yeah.
Right. I just want to piggyback off of what David was saying. Us going with the attorneys that I don't even just want to say optimistic, but they were, like I said, they're confident in this. I think that goes to show how important it is for you to surround yourself with people that also have the same level of faith or stronger. When you're around, whether Christian or not Christian, and they're just always scared and they have like this spirit of fear on them, and they're always kind of like doubting what God has said, you don't want to surround yourself with that, because faith and fear are contagious, right? So just be very wise with the people that either you partner with in business or that you hang out with, or again, even people that you may hire for like attorney or legal stuff. And so with that said, we applied officially June of this year, obviously. And there was some like things we had to fix with like joint sponsor, all that sort of stuff. But
that costs more too.
Yeah, and so this is where it overlaps with the pregnancy stuff, because
oh my gosh,
I'll give a little quick backstory and you can interrupt if you want to like see, but it's kind of TMI, but we've talked about this on YouTube before. The first 3 months of our marriage, we used condoms, and it's because we were like really trying to use wisdom on, hey, we don't want to have kids for at least another like year or two, and
that's
in
smart.
Our defense, a big thing about it was like, we need to wait for your green card. And we weren't aware of any other thing that could like give us a good guarantee that we wouldn't have a kid unexpected, if that makes sense. We were still trying to like build finances. He couldn't legally work here.
You also can't work when you're applying it too. So like, thank God for you guys and Christ developed.
And YouTube and everything, right?
Thank you guys for keeping us alive. Oh my goodness.
Now moving forward, he has the opportunity to get like a W-2 job.
Yeah, they're talking it's different if I was making money back in Canada, it's online, but like I could not apply to a labor job or anything that's like, a real official job.
Right. And also too, we just wanted to establish firm roots in our marriage before we invite a whole other being in.
Which is wise, guys. Yeah. Like I just met Mallory.
Right. But with that said, I was really praying about it because I was like, God, I'm starting to feel convicted that like this isn't something that you necessarily want us to do. And then the Lord introduced me to natural family planning, specifically through this app called Natural Cycle, where you take your temperature daily and it shows you like your fertile and unfertile windows. So obviously like use protection or refrain from sex, which we did not do. But like when I was fertile, and then when we were fertile, we could have sex. Again, it's going to sound TMI, but like we could have sex. I don't want to say raw, like unprotected. I'll say that. And And I'm so blessed that God opened that door of opportunity, because that increased our intimacy with each other in marriage, which is why I'm honestly now like not a big fan of condoms, because it really does block like that full level of like intimacy I feel like you can experience with your spouse. And it was so spiritual. Again, it sounds so TMI.
But condoms are still okay if that's what God's calling you to. I do not believe, guys, especially if you're married, condoms, like God's going to call you to condoms indefinitely. No, that's not what we're saying. But if there's, and maybe some people disagree, especially Catholicism, they don't believe in any form of contraception. If you guys got to use wisdom too. Like, so we get some slack where people are like, you can't use condoms. And I just think that's a little silly. She's not on birth control. She's not on pills, guys. You just want to be smart, right? You're getting to know your wife and you're solidifying your roots. And yeah.
And that's where I believe it is justified. I think the topic of condoms can come down to personal conviction. Like I said, we started to get convicted about it. But I think
one thing I want to say too, sorry to cut you off. Like, I would actually be uncomfortable not using condoms from the get-go.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show it's not so much what is sinful, what's not. It's what is God calling you to.
Yeah, exactly. Again, what's your personal conviction? And I truly do believe that condoms are justified if you are convicted about it. Because as we read in the book of Romans, I believe chapter 13 or 14, if you are convicted about it, but you do it, then that is sin between you and God, right? But if you're not convicted about it, I believe it's justified because it's not abortifacient, right? There's no like what is it called?
It's not something that's an abortifacient, guys, is something that can cause an abortion. So birth control, although that is not abortifacient because it will not allow the sperm to meet the egg. Yeah, it wrecks the body. We're not putting Mal on Plan B. We're not putting her on of course any abortion pills or anything like that. She's not on a copper IUD,
which can be abortifacient.
It can be an abortifacient. So yes, there's not killing of any life now.
Right. So again, that's where I believe it can be justified. But the timing also makes sense because when we were introduced to natural family planning and we then started to use that's where we had to have the conversation like, okay, are we open to life as of right now? Yeah. And this is, I think, where we may do another video here in the future, but we can go more in depth. There's this big debate within the Christian circle of like, are kids a necessity or a commandment for people that are married as Christians, right? The world, we can't be surprised when the world does worldly things. But as Christians, when we are having sex, does that mean we have to be open to life? And where do we find the balance of using wisdom for that and everything? And I believe a good middle ground, because there's this good saying, wisdom is often found in the middle, not in the two extremes of like, yep, pop out as many kids even if you can't afford it, or no, just don't have kids until you have everything in perfect and in order. I believe the safe middle ground is natural family planning, right?
Yeah. And we recommend that, guys. If we ever get sponsored, we'll definitely recommend that. It was good. It helped us. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were still able to experience that like fully deep spiritual intimacy with one another, but we were still able to use wisdom on kind of when we were bringing a kid into this world. But I want to really make this clear. Even when we got married, but especially when we started using natural family planning, we submitted my womb, my fertility, our idea of how many kids and the timing to God. We were like, God, whatever you want, you prepare our hearts for. And we know that your timing is much better than anything we can ever imagine. And even if it's scary, we know like we've committed our lives to you and we want what you want, basically. So align our hearts with your desires. So that's what I would encourage and exhort all of you Christians is, one, again, we'll have to make another video of this on the future, but like kids are supposed to follow a marriage. I personally do believe, and I do believe it's supported biblically. If you are for certain that you don't want to have kids or you believe you're not called to it, you should not be getting married.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you cannot be. I'm not saying if you are infertile and you can't have kids, and that's wrong. Obviously, that's outside of your control. But if you are trying to just be like these childless people, like whatever it is, I believe that that's selfish.
It's unbiblical, guys. Marriage is always for, even emotionally and psychologically, marriage is always for childbearing. Always. So yeah, if you get married, guys, and you're Christians, it's not like, are you going to have kids? It's just a matter of when. And even that, like, it should be pretty quick. Again, everyone's different. We're not going to act like we know the best time. No, because we're all different. But I think a good rule of thumb, and you guys can disagree or let me know what you think, but I think... and even we can hit this biblically with Deuteronomy, right? In the Old Testament, what they would do, I don't know exactly where in the Old Testament, but after getting married, the men, let's say, because during that time, men were always at war, they would get married and they would take 1 year off war to really bind with their wife, become that one flesh and grow with them, and then they would go back. So I think a year's time is acceptable. Mallory and I, it was about, 8 months of being married? Maybe a little bit less. Around 8 months of getting to know each other. I didn't know Mallory beforehand. I don't think it would have been smart to have that extra stress of a kid on the way. We were growing financially, spiritually, really just upheaving a lot of trauma, which we'll speak of in different videos, a lot of old insecurities, and just creating a good nest and a good foundation. And then we felt, yes, like when Mallory got pregnant, it was the perfect time because we had done that groundwork. I felt close with her. We felt bonded. So yeah, I think within a year's time, but if you're married and you've been married for like 2-3 years and there's like no try of kids, unless you have like a really good reason, I think that's a little weird.
I think it's just wrong if you have not submitted your fertility, your womb, the number of kids, and the timing of it to God. Again, people can argue you got to use wisdom, but God's ways are better than our ways, because I'll I guess clarify a little bit what David was saying. It was not the perfect ideal timing in our minds, but obviously it was perfect because it was God's perfect timing, right? And in his providence, he, saw fit that's what the case. So that's kind of what I'll explain to you guys is we mentioned in a previous video where we were starting to feel this inclination to move to San Antonio to be close to my family. And the last time that we had visited a few months ago, we were on a walk and David was like, hey, I think God's telling me we need to move like right now. And I was like, okay. So then we like reach out to the apartment, we break our lease and everything. And by faith, we moved from Dallas to San Antonio, and that's why the past couple months we've been living here in the same house with my sister, brother-in-law, and my parents, which is a sacrifice, right?
Yeah, we'll make videos on that too, because they've been so good.
Yeah,
your parents have been so good, but yeah, it's not easy living 6 people in a house with now 2 babies on the way,
right?
2 pregnant
women.
Yeah,
of course, with the long-term plan of we were all going to have our separate houses here in the next few months.
That's why we moved here, guys. It is unbiblical to get married and move in with your family unless. Like in our case, we have a family compound, which is really cool. It's actually very biblical. A lot of people might disagree with this, but people, whether it's community, even think like Amish people or like pioneers, they would always have like a family trade. Now, again, you guys have separate homes. Like you're not living maybe they did live under one roof. You have your separate areas, your own segregated places. You are the man of each house, right? The father, you, yada, yada. But yeah, a lot of times I believe they would share the same trade. Maybe they were all blacksmiths or maybe they were all like carpenters or something like that. So yes, family compound, own houses, and we'll help each other. But most importantly, guys, it's because we're all Christian. So if we weren't Christian, like, don't do that.
Right. So I share that because David and I, our original plan in our own carnality, right? We were using wisdom, but we're thinking, we're not going to move to San Antonio until March of 2026. And then maybe a few months after that, we can then start the process of trying to get pregnant, right? Because again, we want to use wisdom, but God's like, hey, I'm telling you, jump right now. Are you going to jump? So like I said, we moved to San Antonio and we've been here the past couple months. And I'll just be completely honest. I don't want to go too deep into this. I can make more videos of this on my own social media, but I was really wrestling for like 4 or 5 months about just hearing a lot of lies if I was even going to be able to conceive. Like there's no reason why I wouldn't be able to, because I'm young, I'm healthy, I take care of myself. But I was getting so much spiritual warfare of Satan, like, yeah, you guys are going to like wait all this time and then like you're not going to be able to conceive, because you see all these like horror stories on social media of like people can't conceive for 2, 5, 10 years. And so that was something I really had to wrestle with the Lord with. Yeah, guys,
just the kind of another moral of the story here is like there's always going to be fear mongering, whether it's with immigration or with buying a house or with a family compound or with this. There's always going to be fear mongering. And like Mallory said, both faith and fear is contagious. I'll be honest with you guys, I really don't care what people's opinions are as long as God is giving you this confirmation. How do you know it's his confirmation? Well, of course, it's going to line up biblically. It's not going to be against his character. He's not going to say like, yeah, go like, I don't know, kill a bunch of people or something like that. But 2, you're going to get a peace about it, guys, right? The Bible says Psalm 46:10 to be still and know that I'm God. Every time I get these revelations from God, it's always when I'm quiet. We're on walks. Go out in nature, guys. Be still, and it will align with his word and his will.
But again, we were kind of just wanting to wait until next year, next summer. And it's because like I'm still in the process of paying off some debts. We're thinking like we want to get the businesses established more. We're thinking, we got to wait for David to get his physical green card, right? Because it's kind of like scary if he's still in due process. And we're thinking, his interview isn't going to come until next summer, right? And it was so funny because I remember I kept feeling almost like this conviction for us to get pregnant. And I kept wrestling with David about it. He was like using wisdom. He's like, no, we need to wait. And I just want to share this briefly. I think it was like mid-August where I was like crying to the Lord. And I'm like, God, I feel like I want to be pregnant right now, but like, I guess now it's just like not the timing. But he gave me such peace in my heart of like, I think he pointed me back to Habakkuk 2:2 of it's going to happen in its due time. And it was just so funny looking back at that, because then I ended up conceiving like not even a month later. And so yeah, with that said, I'll just briefly share the pregnancy story. I think after what is it called? I started experiencing some light cramping. And it was weird though, because normally when I experience cramping, I expect my period to come the next day, but it never came. So I kind of knew what was going to happen. I don't know if you want to go into detail of like, you felt the peace while we were doing it.
I felt the peace while we were doing it. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'll just say this, because we had submitted the timeline of my fertility to the Lord. I was in the red period where like we should have been having protected sex, but Dave and I both were like, no, this is like, we're not doing that. So we knew that like a kid was most likely going to come.
No, we didn't. I didn't know that. Like, man, you want to know how God works, guys? I thought, and I didn't know this, and you know, again, this is where you want to use wisdom, but ultimately God's plan or his hand was there the entire time. There's green days where you're good and you can have unprotected sex, and there's red days where you abstain or you wear a condom, right? And Mallory, and the reason for that is because of when a woman ovulates, right? When a woman ovulates, that's the time she gets, a woman can actually, fun fact, which I never knew, she can only get pregnant 6 days out of the month. The other times, is that correct or no?
About like 8 or 9. Yeah.
Okay. Well, a woman cannot just get pregnant any day of the month unless like you're crazy fertile. And Mallory's Latina. She's fertile. Latinas are fertile, man. Okay. And I got good sperm. Anyways, with that said, she was on like the last of her red days or so, and that's because she ovulated. And me in my brain, I thought like I think you told me this. I thought ovulation was just like 1 day, maybe 48 hours, because like, you know, when the egg drops, they ovulate, it's done. The egg's already dropped. That's it. And lo and behold, it like can last like up to like 3 days, which I didn't know. So we knew it was Mallory ovulated on Monday, right? We have ovulation tests, and it was Wednesday, so it was 2 days later, and I'm like, okay. He's
like, yeah, we're good.
I'm like, we're fine. And then like I literally like mid banging, I was like, Mal, like
don't say
excuse
it.
Me, but like I was like, should I like not do this? Should I pull out? And we were literally like debating like mid-sesh, like we can, but like, you know, it's, you know, I technically ovulated, so I'm like, all right, we should be okay. But remember, guys, I know this sounds reckless. You have to understand, like, the reason we're not using contraception at that time at all is because we were in a position where, of course, anytime you have sex, you have to understand that like there is the potential, yes, of having a child. So of course, like I was okay to have a child. So we said, all right, like, okay.
But I'm telling you, it wasn't just us making a decision. There was a supernatural piece there.
It did.
Like,
I almost felt like kind of like encouraged.
Like God was giving him the.
Yeah, and that's why I was wrestling a little bit, but ultimately we did it. And then that's what made the baby.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my mom's pulling in.
It's okay. Her mom's pulling in, so it's good we hit this part right now.
So, yes, again, submitted all that to the Lord. A few weeks later, experiencing the cramping, finding out. It was just super cool. We didn't record any of this. I kind of wish that I did. I found out on my own. I was surprised. Yeah, but then I didn't record when I told you. I was like shaking and crying, and David at first thought that like I was upset, and I was like, no, I'm so happy. And he was like, okay, good. And he was excited too, a little nervous, but I don't know if you want to share your side.
Yeah, Mal just came home one day, and man, I kind of like, you know, it's always going to be unsettling. She'll like make little comments like, hey, I might be pregnant because I missed my period, or like, you know, it's supposed to come in a couple days, but then she'd be like, but sometimes it takes a while. So I'm thinking like, all right, whatever.
I was like the sheep that, or the sheep that cried wolf or something?
I guess.
Oh, never mind. We're scratching.
Yeah, and anyways, so she said no, she's not. She wanted to go buy some tests just to take them, and I was a little nervous, but then she like was like, no, I'm good. Like I think I'm all right.
I'll be honest. I kind of knew, but I was still so surprised when it happened because I was like, holy crap. Because I'm thinking again, we had this whole timeline, this time frame of I have to get A, B, C, and D in order before we have the kid. And this is why we're sharing this in detail because, again, a lot of people, Christians even testify, get out of debt completely. And there's wisdom to that. Yeah. I would say that is the ideal. But you know what? If God says something otherwise, then that's the most ideal,
that's the
right?
Ideal now. That's
exactly.
the standard, not the world, but God.
Exactly.
The world can bend to God's standard, not the other way around.
And because we also have to remember that marriage and being a parent is sanctifying. It's an extension of discipleship. So what if God in his providence is seeing, hey, you're actually going to grow more if this comes first? And then, and this is again why I was sharing all this, because I want to testify. When I found out I was pregnant, we found out, it was scary, right? Because we didn't have A, B, C, and D in order. We're still living with my parents, like still have some debt on my end to pay off.
Didn't have the physical green
card
yet.
Yeah, exactly. But within the next few weeks, that's when we got the the okay with like the floor plan of our house and everything. That's when David got called in for his green card interview.
Like literally
we
like
were told this was going to take a year and a half to get.
Yeah.
And I was like bawling. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. In the world's carnal wisdom, they're saying do A, B, C, and D and then be obedient to God. But God's wisdom and his kingdom works, be obedient to God, and then God aligns A, B, C, and D. Isn't that crazy? It's so backwards. And so that's what we experienced, and it's been amazing. Then finances started to come out of nowhere. As David mentioned earlier, his mom gifted him.
Yeah, thank you, Mom. Appreciate you. She like covered the entire immigration thing, which I think men, I didn't tell my mom anything. I didn't tell her how much it cost, and I don't tell my mom how much money I have, yada yada. I'm good, right? As men, we're okay, and she just supernaturally, I don't know, just at that time too, because we got married, guys, almost a year prior. At that time, she was like, here's your wedding gift. And I was like, what the heck? And
she didn't know I was pregnant.
No. She covered basically, I would say, yeah, pretty much the entire thing. And it was just such a blessing. And then I had other family so into the ministry. You guys, I don't know who's watching this, but thanks to you guys, clients going up. Freelance video. I have, a job now. If I would decide I want to do that now that I'm able to legally work, and yeah, a lot of stuff is just lining into place. But that happens after we took those steps of obedience. Like Mallory said, I got called in for my interview. I was very nervous for that too, but we knew that that's a good sign because normally it takes up to about a year. We got an interview within like 3 months. We drove all the way there, did the interview, guys. I can't make this up. It was like the easiest interview in the world. When it happened, I just Mallory and I both tried not to laugh, like coming out of the interview room, because, a lot of people are nervous. We were nervous too, just because of all the fear mongering and the lies. Mallory and I had like 100 questions prepped to like study.
I had a packet like this thick of all of our updated evidence and proof of residency, all that sort of stuff. We didn't use any of it. They just wanted to make sure he wasn't a criminal and some bad guy. And she's like, yep, you're good. I'll send your approval here in a week.
Well, yeah, but it's also because they checked everything beforehand that you did send, and that all was good.
Yeah, again, they saw that the marriage was real. Yeah, it was just, like you said, we were trying so hard not to laugh when we were leaving. Like, that was it.
The interview was like a minute, guys. Like, she just went in. She was like, and I'm not saying this is going to be your case, guys. I have no criminal history. Okay. So, like, it's going to be very different if you do. Law abiding, everything was legal that we did. And yeah.
But I do want to add to that, though, because when I started talking about a bit more like politics stuff on my Instagram and testifying about us going through like the legal immigration process, I had so many Hispanic Christians primarily condemn me because they're like, how as you as a Mexican can say that it's sinful or wrong or God doesn't bless the people that are here illegally? Because again, this is a whole like Trump era ICE stuff that I was like commenting on, and I stand by that. It is sinful and it is wrong for you to be disobedient to the government, especially when they have given you a way to be able to go about this process legally. Is it scary? Yes. Is it expensive? Yes. Does it require patience? Yes. Does it challenge your faith? Yes. And that's what I kept telling people, like, hey, if you're upset about, I don't know, your grandma being illegal or something, like, go through the process of getting her an actual green card. And I understand ours is a bit more of like an easier process because green card by marriage is a bit one of like the fastest and easier ones. But I encourage those Christians, like, it is wrong. And just because you have a personal connection to it doesn't make it not wrong or unbiblical. It's really just like, be obedient to God, right? And then follow the laws of the land and everything. So let this story be a testament to you guys too, that like a lot of people are going to try to normalize whether it's like doing fraud on your taxes, right? Or going about immigration in like an illegal way. I don't know, whatever it is. But when you are obedient to what God is asking you to do, whether personal conviction wise or just following the commandments of the Bible, he is going to honor that tenfold. And yeah, so I don't know. I just don't really have compassion, if I'll be completely honest, for people that try justifying illegal immigration. But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, guys, as Christians, we are called higher, and we are called to respect the laws of the land. So, Yes, we did everything legally, even though it will be more expensive. And, there's going to be a sacrifice at some point, but I'd rather kind of bite the bullet and, allow God to bless that, because God does bless obedience, guys. We don't want to just be rebels. And we're not saying we're perfect by any means, guys, but even like with me driving, Mal was driving
this
me
whole time
everywhere, and I'm going to get my license in about a week so I can finally drive and go to the gym, because that's all I'm going to go. And the gym is only a 5-minute drive, but still, I don't want to forget how to drive.
But it's little things like that where we could have easily had David driving this whole time, because it's like, oh, what are the chances of us getting pulled over? But it's like, who cares if the officer or authorities don't catch you? God is watching everything, and God is testing our little act of obedience in everything. And we truly do believe, like, yes, this is by the grace and mercy of God that we were able to get married, and David is now an official green card holder and will be a citizen in the future. But we really do believe that God honored our obedience with even the little things. There were times where I was crying driving because I do not like driving.
I kept saying, David, drive, please drive. And I said, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and he kept saying, he's like, no, we made a vow to God. This is a personal conviction and we're going to follow it. So,
trust me, guys, like, yeah, it was nice being passenger princess or whatever, but like, I feel safer driving. I don't like being in shotgun. Mal almost got into like 3 wrecks. Like, I would rather drive. I'm very good at driving. I've been driving for like 8 years longer than you.
Okay, next conversation.
But no, she did good. So yeah, guys, that is it. We're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for anyone
that's it?
Lord, we've been speaking for an hour. How much longer?
Let me just wrap up the little thing.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. Yeah. So just to wrap it up, again, exciting news. Got our house being built. I am officially pregnant. Yes, yeah. And we're going to document all this to keep you guys updated. And now David is an official green card holder. So praise God. The theme of this whole episode that I hope you guys got is, what is it?
Trusting God's promise.
Yeah.
Being obedient.
Yeah. And I would even say the world is going to say, in your own strength and in your own wisdom, get A, B, C, D in order, and then be obedient to God. But again, God's kingdom is the exact opposite. Be obedient to him. Walk by faith, no matter how scary it is. And you will see the goodness and mercy of God supernaturally start to align things so that you can then further walk out, what he's calling you to do. So,
boom. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for any of the support, guys, the prayers, any one of you guys who gift into this ministry. It genuinely has saved our lives. And we just thank you guys so much. And we appreciate you guys. So that is it. We're going to finish it there. If you guys enjoyed today's podcast or video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. As always, guys, these podcasts are also on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So if you guys want to just listen to them, maybe you're on a road trip or something, they're always there too. And just pray for this ministry, guys. It can be so easy in 2025 to create Christian ministries to glorify ourselves. And I say that from experience. Like, I almost turned, initially Christ developed into a ministry that was glorifying myself. And that's why so much of it has changed. If you guys are following that page, it's a lot more now on the gospel, not on clicky political things, yada, yada, yada. And we just want this channel to, again, be a testimony as it grows in faith to God. Yes, guys, it's cool. God can exalt you, and that can help in certain ways. But ultimately, right, if God gives life, he can take it. If God puts you on, he can take it away. And he really is testing all of our stewardship. So hopefully this podcast can be a testimony of that faith. So thank you guys. As always, if you do want to gift into this ministry, guys, the links are below. It helps us for the house and the future baby on the way. And yes, that doesn't mean now we're just going to be lazy and just rely on sponsors and stuff like that. No, guys, we're working. Christ Develops full time. I got the visual business, and we got this, guys. We want to really full send this and be good stewards and to work heartily unto the Lord. That's Colossians 3:23. So God bless you guys. There is also evangelism or apologetic or discipleship coaching below. Christ Develop for myself, or I have the men's coaching. Mal has her biblically feminine. And we love you guys, all right? Till then, we'll check you next time. Much love. Peace.